Intersectionality in the classroom, rethinking school curriculum. If education is meant to uplift all students, then why do so many classrooms ignore the ways race, gender, class, and identity shape learning experiences? Why do we still pretend that education is neutral, when in reality, students navigate vastly different challenges based on who they are and where they come from? Could it be that true learning does not happen in isolation, but is deeply influenced by lived experiences, social realities, and systemic inequalities? If we are to create a just and equitable education system, then shouldn't classrooms be designed not just to teach knowledge, but to reflect and affirm the diverse identities of all students? What happens when we recognize that students do not experience education in the same way? A child from a low-income background may have different access to resources than a wealthier peer. A student who speaks English as a second language may process lessons differently than a native speaker. A young girl in a male-dominated STEM field may face implicit biases that shape her confidence and engagement. If we ignore these realities, are we truly teaching, or are we merely upholding an education system that privileges some while marginalizing others? Multiple intelligence theory tells us that learning happens in many forms: linguistic, logical, spatial, musical, kinesthetic, interpersonal, intrapersonal, and naturalist. But if intelligence is diverse, then why do we still expect students to thrive in a one-size-fits-all education model? A student with interpersonal intelligence may learn best through group discussions that validate different cultural perspectives, while a student with intrapersonal intelligence may benefit from self-reflection on their identity and experiences. If education is meant to empower all students, then shouldn't it honor the varied ways in which they understand and process the world? And what about kinesthetic learners, those who engage best through movement and hands-on experience? How many Black and brown students, often stereotyped as disruptive or hyperactive, are simply students whose intelligence shines in active physical learning environments? What if, instead of labeling these students as problems to be disciplined, we created classrooms that recognized their unique strengths and provided opportunities for movement-based experiential learning? Wouldn't that lead to a system where more students felt included, valued, and capable of success? If intelligence is diverse and identity shapes learning, then shouldn't education be designed to reflect and support the full range of human experience? What if classrooms incorporated musical intelligence by exploring history through diverse cultural traditions, or linguistic intelligence by encouraging students to read and write in multiple languages? What if naturalist intelligence was used to examine environmental justice through an intersectional lens, connecting issues of race, poverty, and sustainability? Wouldn't that create an education system where all students could see themselves in the material, rather than only those whose identities align with dominant narratives? If we continue to teach from a narrow perspective, failing to acknowledge the realities of race, gender, class, and identity, then education is not about expanding knowledge, it is about reinforcing exclusion. But if we design classrooms that embrace intersectionality, recognize multiple intelligences, and reflect the full diversity of human experience, then we can ask, are we finally creating an education system that is truly for everyone? Or are we still leaving too many students behind? Because if we fail to honor intersectionality in learning, we are not just failing individuals, we are failing the very purpose of education itself.